I would say to anybody, explore, 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 and do it with an open heart. Know that there are going to be challenges. Know that it won't work maybe the first time, maybe not the second time, maybe not even the fucking third time. But if you believe in it hard enough and true enough, I do honestly believe that it's possible.
Welcome to the True Leadership Podcast, where we sit down with executive leaders to explore what leadership really means through the lens of their stories, their wins, their struggles, their vision, and their lessons along the way. I'm Ty Hammond, founder of One Mountain Leadership and creator of the True Leadership Approach, an awareness-based path that helps leaders shift their focus from what to do about their problems to how to grow from them. Whether you're just stepping into leadership or are well-seasoned and at the top of your game, your potential won't be realized following someone else's script, but you can draw insights from their stories and turn it into wisdom by putting it into practice in your own life. Welcome to the True Leadership Podcast, where we explore the essence of leadership beyond tactics and performance by sitting down with executives to hear what matters most to them. I'm your host, Ty Hammond. Today's guest is Adrian Burks. Adrian is a filmmaker, director, and producer whose work bridges creativity and leadership in equal measure. As Vice President of Production Development and Directing at More Stories, he guides projects from concept to completion, shaping compelling visual narratives that resonate with audiences worldwide. A former actor, writer, and founder of Happy Wanderer Productions, Adrian's journey through every layer of the industry gives him a rare, holistic understanding of storytelling and collaboration. Known for his award-winning work in the independent film circuit, he brings passion, precision, and purpose to every frame, crafting stories that both move and endure. It's a pleasure for me to have Adrian on the podcast today. Welcome to the show, Adrian.
Thank you, Ty. I appreciate it.
Fantastic. So I always start here with this question. Every leader, of course, has a beginning, who we are. As leaders at work and in life, of course, starts taking shape well before we ever advance to any executive leadership position or particular place in our professional development. So who is someone from your early life or an early experience that really shaped not only the leader, but the person that you are today?
I would say the person that shaped me to who I am today, I would say my adopted mother, which is biologically my aunt. We had a rough childhood, not knowing a lot of things kind of left unknown, but she stood by us and, set up the foundation of who we are and who we could be, blessed with many opportunities that we didn't have before. So I think she's one person that I've always looked forward to and has kind of set the bar for what I could be and the possibilities that are, outlined for me.
Well, incredibly inspiring, of course, when somebody from inside the family steps up in that way. I'm curious if you'd speak a little bit to, your relationship with her and maybe like her own ways of how leadership showed up in your relationship and what you've learned from her in that.
Yeah, no problem. First of all, biologically, she's my aunt. My twin and I, as well as one of our other younger brothers, who's 8 years younger than we are. She, as a single parent, as a single woman who biologically wasn't our mother, who was our biological mother's sister, saw all of the things that were happening to us and saw the unknown of where we were in life and the lack of possibilities, the lack of, the fundamental things that children, need. And she took up and said, you know what, I'm going to take them, and took me and my brother and I while working and took us in and gave us, we didn't have that before, had a routine, fed us, gave us a safe environment to stay in. And me being a parent now, just seeing, I'm a co-parent, me and his mother are friends and stuff, but just seeing even the challenges that I have and the difficulty, with navigating being there and being emotionally available for him, just doing that alone with two boys at the start of it that weren't hers, uh, is truly, truly inspirational. And that set the foundation for me, I would say, at a young age, and let me know what was possible.
That sounds incredibly powerful, of course, and a lot of gratitude to your aunt and your mother there. So, in this podcast, we're exploring the essence of leadership,
Mm-hmm.
what I call true leadership. Of course, that's going to mean different things to different people. What does true leadership mean to you? What makes a true leader in your eyes?
It's funny that you asked that. I think it's changed over the years on what I thought true leadership was. I think in general, I was a leader on the field playing football and in college, and led by example. But I think in general, making decisions that can be hard, where you're also highlighting and putting sometimes other people before yourself. I think making the right decision that is beneficial for the bigger mass, even if it's challenging and difficult. I think that it's hard to make decisions when you are a leader to have the mass outcome, like the best outcome for the mass population, the mass group. And I think I would say that sometimes putting yourself behind others and putting them before you, because that is the outcome that is going to lead the most successful um, goal, and to lead to the goal. For example, I think learning from her, learning from some coaches, and also my grandmother on what is right is hard.
Hmm.
But ultimately, I think having a good conscience, and leading with love, and leading with um, your heart, I think is always kind of the way to go.
Sounds like your definition of true leadership is consistently evolving and growing. I personally think that that's a really healthy way to be in relationship with the question, what is true leadership? Seeing that grow from leadership, as you say, like on the field as a football player, to how that evolves as a father,
Mm-hmm.
and as a leader and as a community member and all of these things. My next question here is potentially pointing a little bit towards that, or because life and leadership is fundamentally shaped by really fundamental turning points that we encounter along the way. These turning points, they can be specific moments or they can happen over time. But I'm curious if you can share with me about a time when you realized that, and maybe it is just to that what you just spoke about, right? The realization of, oh, it's not just sort of being the leader on the field. It's this new way. What was it about, speaking a little bit to that transition, your evolution of what true leadership means to you?
Mm-hmm. I think for me, speaking on that, it it changed a little bit. I think in college we all had the same goal. We were on the same team. We want to win. We want to get to the next level. We want to get a bowl ring. We want to win as many games as we can. And how we did that, we were doing it together as a team. We all kind of had same goals and inhibitions, and kind of the same direction. When you remove yourself from an academic or an athletic sport, or even the academic, or whether it be a team, whether it be some type of club, whether it be chess team, whether it be a debate team, um, moving into an individualized career such as film and TV. I first came here as an actor, um, and then I started directing and producing and creating a team. I think my direction on what a leader is shifted, specifically when I started creating the worlds and hiring the people for to make my world possible. I used to think that it was all on me to make the decision and for people kind of to follow, and that is the leader. I realized that, right, when you have people follow you, everyone has their own idea of what that is. Everyone puts their touch on something. For as example, as a project, you hire a team, it no longer becomes just yours. It also becomes everyone else's who touches it. And I think the awareness of being a true leader is understanding that, everyone wants to feel like they had some point or part in the creation of whatever that goal is. And that, as a leader, is important, is to be able to give that space to make people feel like they took part in it, that they were a part of the bigger whole. And it's not just all about you. Yes, you have a touch on it, but I think true leaders truly understand that it takes a village. It takes a team to be successful. It's really hard to do things individualized by yourself. I think once you realize that and you make people feel important, you make them feel comfortable, and you make people feel heard, I have learned that that is the biggest gift that you can give to someone, because not only do people trust, they'll follow you. You're able to navigate that space to make people aware of maybe things that they weren't aware of before, but it's reciprocated. Then you also, as a leader, are aware of things that weren't there before as well. It's not just a I take, it's a I take and give that we share. I think that is the true mark of a leadership, is having that awareness and having that understanding.
Yeah, I really love that. I'm curious, in making that transition to what it sounds like really sharing in the vision and in the empowerment to get everybody on board. What did you have to let go of in order to step into that kind of leadership?
Number one, first and foremost, ego. I think you have to let go of the ego of you knowing or thinking that you're always right, that you know what's best. Because even though that may be right, or you may think that you may know best, a lot of times I've learned that it's impossible to know everything. It's impossible to have a full grasp on all different entities and different parts of a whole. I think everyone has a superpower, in a sense. I think everyone has their strong points, and I would say superpower or something that they're really good at. And it probably is more than one thing. It could be two, it could be three, it could be one. But I think the mark of a true leadership also too is being a scary judge of talent. And I mean that by understanding everyone's power and how to use and shape that to the best of their ability so that it shines through. And if everyone uses all their superpower, then you have a team. You have the A team. You have the Avengers, if you will. Everyone plays their part super, super well, but there is someone who kind of creates the space to navigate and let that shine through.
Well, full transparency here. My wife is also a film director, and I've been behind the scenes, and everything that you're saying resonates so much right now with me in terms of, really being able to see, who the talent is, what the talent is, and bring all of that up to shine. So it's cool just having a little bit of an example of that in the back of my mind. And boy, what an amazing leadership lift the direction, the production of, film is. Holy cow. So this is one of the reasons why I wanted to get your perspective on here today. And, when you talk about, the letting go of ego, the letting go of the righteousness or the need to be right or thinking that you have all of the answers, that kind of thing requires pretty continuous growth and learning. That's a real commitment. Thinking about your journey over the past few years, what do you feel like has been the most valuable investment that you've made in yourself for your own growth?
I would say for my own growth, the things that I've learned is I think it can be hard sometimes, especially in this climate and the environment that we are, is to truly, truly believe in yourself. I think also too, there are so many voices in your head or other people trying to say, do this, do that, go this way, go that way. I think truly, truly believing in yourself and knowing that you're doing right is to have enough faith and courage enough to know that you you are making the decisions based on what you know. And you know what you know, and you don't know what you don't. But you find out what you don't know by doing those things that you don't. And I think it's the last couple years have probably been some of the most challenging, one of the most challenging time that I've had as an adult. As an adult, a lot of things kind of happened to me that happened on an idle Tuesday that took me by surprise. That very much shifted things for me. Um, and I was scared. I felt lost at times, and I didn't know if I was doing the right thing, but I doubled down on betting on myself. I decided, with the climate of the industry that we're in and kind of the loss of job and consistency of income that I had before, I had to really shape and shift on what I really wanted. And I decided to do this, this project that I'm doing that was very, very personal to me. And I'm working on it now. We're almost done. And it was very hard to make that. It was very surprising. It came upon me unaware, and it took me to by surprise. But ultimately, deep down, I think when you have those experiences and you are a true leader, that is a tough decision. You're able to make those tough decisions because you truly know innately, deep down and deep seat rooted, is that it's the right decision for you. It's what you're supposed to be doing and where you're supposed to be.
Those are really powerful words. Full transparency again, Adrian. I kind of needed to hear those words today. I appreciate that reflection.
Yeah.
Um, Boy, I can just what I know, especially of the film industry. Of course, all of the challenges that have, especially over the past couple of years. What tenacity, what courage, what commitment, what grace is required to continue putting one foot in front of another there.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, and it's, it is what separates out who continues and who stops. So really seeing that. And, it has me curious about what your vision for the future is for your leadership, your legacy, the impact that you want to have in the years ahead. And I welcome you to talk about your current project or anything else that you feel there.
I Going back to that, and before I answer that, I will say, to add on to that, is whatever project you're doing, if it's new, if it's hard, if you're taking on the brunt of the work to build something, you have to believe in it so much. Almost where you have to be, I say this is not a negative way, but what other people would view it as, because you don't think it is, but you have to view it as like, you have to be so delusional and feel right in your delusion because you actually believe it to be true, uh, and believe it to be fact of something that can happen. And other people may think, oh my God, that's crazy. That's delusional. I can't believe that. That's wild. But if you believe in it so much, then you can make it happen. And I'm working on documenting an adoption. I'm adopted, full disclosure. I think just hearing what I said before. But some things happened to me in my life where my biological mother passed away. And then my biological father, we got in contact, and I decided to do a deep dive into finding my roots, finding and asking the questions that I never got to ask my mother, and then finding out a little bit about my history, as well as two other people in my circle on their story and like their different stages of connecting with their biological parents. And so I've been working on that, and it's been a roller coaster. I didn't know it would turn into what it had turned to, and I believe that it would be something special, but more than anything, I believe that it could be super cathartic for me and my transformation and my growth and my healing as well. And I hope to turn this into it's a feature length documentary, but I hope to turn it into maybe more of a series, because there's so many more stories that need to be told and they need to be heard, and also to shed light on things that people don't really talk about. I know I didn't talk about it, I know diving into this whole thing and this community, I wasn't involved in the adopted community before. I wasn't involved in sharing my conversations with anyone or sharing my story. And when I, this last year has been transformational for me as far as what is possible and the community that does exist if you just open up your mind and heart to it and are willing to share and give full disclosure. Um, and like I said before, it's challenging. It's hard. There are times when I'm like, oh my God, am I really doing this? Oh my God, I have to do this. There's this schedule. Oh my God, I hope this works out. Man, this is taking so much time. I also like there was some money that was gotten for this, but then I'm also spending a lot of my own time and money, and while I'm also having a kid, while I'm also having my other career just to have some financial restitution for to be able to live and to be able to afford the things that I need to afford. There are, I will say there are always reasons why not to do something. Always. There are always times that are hard. There are always obstacles put in front of you. But if you can't shake an idea or thought or whatever creation that you have, it has helped me to do something and act on that thing. Because there's always a reason why not to do something, but what's the reason to do it? And if you believe that it needs to be done for whatever reason it may be like Nike and just do it. You know what I mean? Like,
It reminds me of this story. I actually I went to a music show one night and I saw this guy on the percussion and he was just so obviously fully enthralled, like in his joy. I was really inspired by it. And I so inspired I went afterwards and I talked to him about it and I was like, man, that was such an inspiring show. Like what, you're obviously doing what you're meant to be doing. He goes, man, I was just at every drum circle that I could ever possibly be at whenever I could until finally someone realized and like welcomed me into the band. And he goes, you just got to keep on doing what you can't not do.
oh, yeah. Yeah.
And that really resonated with me. It's the sort of thing where the things that you find that but I feel like the things in my life that I follow, that if I were to not do them, I'd die a little bit of a soul death.
Yep.
Like it's not worth it. And then looking at all of the leadership and growth lessons that come out of that relationship with our own creativity and life force and the ideas that we're stewarding.
Yeah. It, man, that hit home because that's everything that happened to me in 2024, back to back to back to back, was making it extremely challenging and hard for me to do the thing that I needed to do for my soul. And everything was like, can't do that. We can't do that. But I always found a way to do it. And I always migrated toward doing that. No matter what, even if it was hard, even though it was like, oh, well, we got to do this instead. And oh, you have this. And I figured out those things and did that too. But I never stopped creating. I never stopped experimenting with and navigating that filmmaking space or creating. Now, I have so many projects written and so many stuff that I've shopped around and I've gotten great feedback on for network and stuff like that. And, when everything happened the way they happened, this was something new. This is my first feature-length documentary, my first anything, and I needed to do it. But it was a way for me to use all the skills that I had to bring in my team. And I've been working on this for almost a year now. It'll be a year and a month that I've been working on this, but it's been a lot of stop and go, do this on schedule this day, pick up this, shoot it this way, find this way, and be smart about it. But all the years of my filmmaking experience has led me to be able to do it this way and do it effectively with the people that I know that I have, because I'm able to do it on the run, do it on the gun. And I think that everything leads to something. All your experiences that you have when you're leading in your light, when you're leading in what you're supposed to do, you realize that those skills that you have had led you up to be able to do this thing that you're doing now, even when it felt like the world said no, or the environment or climate said, nah, can't do this right now. Nah, dude, you're pause. You got to do something else. But you couldn't. You did, but you couldn't stop. And I think all those experiences really helped me being able to navigate this and do this correctly.
I love it. I sometimes think of life as like the most divinely, perfectly coordinated obstacle course that trains you up specifically, precisely, in the way that you need to grow and develop in order
Yeah.
uh, to fulfill your function. So, on the topic of challenges, what is your current growing edge? What are the places that you feel most tested right now? What's stretching you the most?
I think the things that are stretching me the most right now, kind of that edge, is just being able to navigate time and financial stability through the work. I think that is right. A lot of times you'll have the time to do things, but you don't have the financial situation to be able to do it, or you have a lot of financial and you're busy, but you don't have the time to do it. So finding that balance has been really, 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 really challenging, but also being able to create a schedule while other people are involved, making sure that they're getting, paid, as well as getting the content that you need, I think has been extremely extreme. I've been tested. I've been tested back and forth so much recently. But I look at it as this way, like, what a great thing to be able to do regardless. What a great thing to be able to be tested. I could not be tested, and then I would just be doing something that I like, but I don't love, or I don't feel creatively inspired by, or I don't feel creatively pushed by or challenged by. Um, but I look at it as this. I've always been a glass half full, you know, even though things have been tough, and you go through moods, you may have a little bit, go through a period of time of depression or uncertainty. I always look at it as what a great thing to be able to feel. It means that the fact that I'm able to feel something, the fact that I'm able to do things that I love to do, and even though it's extremely hard to find that balance, what a great thing to be tested on anyway. But I
I
think
really
that's
do.
been my most challenge theme at the moment, and getting all the things done that I needed to get done.
Well, this last question is more of an invitation. Adrian, you have the time and the space here to offer to our listeners whatever it is that's most in your mind and your heart to share right now. Anything at all. Take the time. The floor is yours.
I felt like I've had many iterations of me in this life already. I feel like in this one life, I've lived like four different lives and in different experiences. I would say sometimes, and it's okay to give yourself this space and awareness, sometimes what you had planned on doing and shifting is scary. I was a football player and that was going to be my life. I was like, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this. And somewhere along the road at the end of college, before I was going to do the combine, and I was talking to Cullen Fisher with the Steelers training, and I was going to try to see if I can like get on the team and work. I realized that my love of it changed, and that was scary. I realized that it wasn't for me anymore. I was just another number. I wanted something more. I wanted to do something different, and that was scary. And I feel like a lot of times we get so entranced and enthralled in what we're doing, and this is what we have to do, that sometimes it's hard to be able to think outside of the other possibilities that are for you, because you've been doing this so long, or you were told to do this, or had so much experience in this, and this is something kind of new and it's uncertain and you don't know what could happen. But I feel like in this life, there's not just one thing that is meant for you. I feel like there's a writer there's a right and a writer, or there's a wrong and a wronger. I know those aren't really true out words, but I know that there's never just one thing that's meant for us. We're so complex as people. We have so many facets of who we are as a personality that help shape us. And I think if you really tap into that and you have the space to be able to be aware of that or to explore, I think you'll be very surprised and interested at what you can find. I feel like it could just make you a more understanding person, a more experienced and complete human being. And I think that's innately what we're all searching for, right? Is to find not just our purpose, but leading our purpose for where our heart is, but also to have the community where we feel so passionate about and we love, that we're able to communicate effectively, that we not only give, but we receive as well, that it feels reciprocated. And I feel like there's not just one thing for us all. I've shifted my life and my job and in a lot of different various ways. And I do feel more complete, even though it's challenging, but things that are worth it are hard. And I would say to anybody, explore, and do it with an open heart. Know that there are going to be challenges. Know that it won't work maybe the first time, maybe not the second time, maybe not even the fucking third time. But if you believe in it hard enough and true enough, I do honestly believe that it's possible. And I believe that there are people along the way who will help you as well.
Well, Adrian, I so appreciate the wisdom that you have shared with me today. I've really enjoyed our conversation so much. I've gotten so much out of it. And I'm sure that whoever else listens is going to equally benefit from what you've shared here today. Thank you so much for being my guest on the True Leadership Podcast.
Ty, thank you so much, man. I really appreciate you. And I love the work that you're doing. People need to talk. People need to share. And I think what you're doing is also equally fascinating. And I do believe that it seems like you're living in your true light as well, man. So keep on keeping on. And I think these conversations do help people. And also having this conversation helped me realize all those things that sometimes you think, but just to say it out loud makes it real. So I also equally appreciate it, Ty.
Well, thank you so much. Well, this conversation truly helped me today. So we'll leave on that note and trust that it's going to help whoever else hears it as well. That's it for this episode of the True Leadership Podcast. If you enjoyed this conversation, you can subscribe to YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you're listening to this to catch future episodes. This conversation was brought to you by One Mountain Leadership, where we help leaders grow the capacity, confidence, and presence of true leadership through the True Leadership approach. To learn more about the approach, our offerings, our community, and how we can help you realize your potential in both leadership and in life, visit us at onemountainleadership.com.